Kia ora. To follow on with the unusual crosses that we have to learn about is to do with lethal and multiple alleles. So a lethal allele is when we describe a mutation that has occurred that results in a non-functional version of an essential protein being formed. And it's classified as lethal if they've inherited two of these. That usually means that the organism dies before or shortly after births. The ratio, therefore, is not the 3-to-1 as expected for most monohybrid crosses. We have a ratio of 2-to-1 because the inheriting both homozygous dominant alleles results in the lethal combination, therefore does not form. Drosophila and the fruit fly, there's an example of a lethal allele. So the lethal allele, big C, if they inherit two of those, the fly does not actually form. The deformation, as it were, of the wing is just too much and it dies. So yet again, we have a 2-to-1 ratio. The Manx cat. Now, this is a breed of cat that was originally discovered in the Isle of Man. A mutation had formed whereby an essential protein that generates the tail went wrong. However, if a cat had inherited just one of these alleles, they just were formed but had no tail, surprisingly enough. However, they discovered that if it inherited two of these lethal alleles, the cat did not grow to full maturity. The severity of the spinal deformation was just way too much. So they usually died or were naturally aborted at birth. The outcome, again, is a 2-to-1 because of that. So you could have two Manx cats to every normal cat that has been generated due to that new mutated lethal allele. Multiple alleles. Now, this is when you can have two or more different alleles that actually code for a trait. We know that you can, as an individual, only carry two alleles, but if you have more possible, this is referred to as multiple alleles, and this is a classic with blood grouping. It displays codominance and complete dominance. I'll go through that with you. So we have what's called the ABO blood grouping. So that's telling us that you've actually got three alleles existing here that could code for your blood. A and B are codominant to each other, and yet they are completely dominant over the O blood group. Therefore, when we put this into a table to process, we can see, depending on what the mother or father alleles are passed on to the offspring, dictates what kind of blood type you will be having. If you have a B and an A, it's an AB blood group. You only get O blood if you have both parents giving you an O allele. This chart shows it a bit clearer. And if you can see from there, they've got a little I that dictates the O allele. This is how we would express, just going back to the previous slide, this is how we would express the genotype or the phenotype if you had to write it in an exam. And the last slide is actually just there for your interest, knowing who you can give blood to, but also who you could receive blood from. Thank you.